In all honesty, I really do not know how to begin this video, but besides that, I want you to know one thing. This really hits home, to the point that I'll even consider it personal. Some of you might not know, but I am a huge Halo fan. It is one of the first games that really captivated me into their universe, and needless to say, Marty O'Donnell, who was the audio director at the time at Bungie and the creator of the iconic Halo soundtrack, created one of the best soundtracks of all time. His music encaptivated the magic, mystery, and epicness that was playing a Halo game. Marty's next big project was going to be Destiny's soundtrack. He spent years composing the game's music, and in his own words, he even considered this project the peak of his career. His music for Destiny would make a debut on Destiny's trailer at E3 2013, but the evil claws of Activision decided to step in, scrap Marty's music, and provide the music themselves. That will lead to several discussions between Marty, Bungie, and Activision, and ultimately, it will lead to Marty O'Donnell's unfair layoff from Bungie. I just cannot get why gaming publishers such as Activision will overstep its own role of basically just publishing the damn game and take creative control about things they know next to nothing about, and that really makes me sick. The reason why I'm telling you all of this is because that's what basically happened to Mick Gordon in one way or the other. But before I get into the bread and butter of this video, I will kindly ask all of you to be civil about this situation. The least I want this video to make is pointless drama within the community. So let's take our Doom fan glasses off, put the pitchforks and torches away, and shoot a hole into the surface of Mars straight into this. So first of all, what happened? What's with all the commotion? Mick Gordon, the composer of Doom Eternal's music, was not given time to finish the audio mixing of the game's soundtrack, and instead it was mixed by another audio engineer and rushed to make the deadline. Because of this, most of the game's official soundtrack was poorly mixed, with noticeable differences in quality, and it has sparked what it might be Mick Gordon not returning to compose the music of future Doom games and DLCs, which is a cardinal sin. Now, let's not act like Mick Gordon is the only very talented composer in the world. There are a ton of very talented composers that could do a very good job. The thing is that Mick Gordon has basically become Doom himself. His creation fits the Doom universe so much that any other composer will just feel lackluster. I'm not saying they are bad by any means, it's just that Mick fits Doom so well that any other composer will just feel out of place. It's just like how Halo's music after Halo Reach just doesn't hold up to the standard of the golden days of Marty O'Donnell. It feels out of place, and I just cannot help but imagine that it would be the same case if Mick Gordon steps out of composing more music for Doom. This shouldn't have happened at all. Not even a month has passed since the release of the game, and they have already released the official soundtrack, where it is 2 times bigger than 2016's soundtrack. The soundtrack for Doom 2016 came out 4 months after the game released, so why couldn't they do the same for Doom Eternal? I don't know. Now let's talk about the main differences from the songs Mick did mix and the ones that were mixed together and rushed to meet the game's deadline. Let's take the song of The Only Thing They Fear Is You as an example. As you can hear, there is a noticeable difference between the track that was mixed by Gordon and the one that wasn't. If you open up the tracks in any audio software and compare the wavelengths of the two, you can see that the one mixed by Gordon has a greater dynamic range. The sounds of the track harmonize together to create an even better sound. Sounds that should be heard less are lowered, and the sounds that should excel do. If you compare this to the track that was rushed, all sounds have been compressed to the point that they all have the same volume, creating the effect that they are fighting each other to see which one is heard the most, and this can really damage the end product. The game rips, which are the songs ripped from the game itself, also have this type of poor quality. And so, does it suck? Does the official game soundtrack and the game-read versions of the game suck? Absolutely not. And I'm tired of people acting like it now that they know that Mick didn't mix the soundtrack. The reality is that Doom Eternal's soundtrack is still goddamn awesome. It is one of the best game soundtracks I've heard in my life, and I blast that stuff in my speakers all day, every day. Being a composer and an audio engineer is galaxies apart. Gordon was still the one who created the soundtrack, and even though he didn't have the freedom to mix the songs, overall damaging the quality of the soundtrack, it still rocks. Now, let's be completely real here. While playing the game, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. There's a dozen of different audio cues happening at the same time while playing, so you noticing the overall poor quality of the tracks would be really hard. The official release of the soundtrack is still amazing as it is now, and it will always be. The real problem here is that why was the official game soundtrack rushed if it wasn't finished? Look man, rushing a game and an album go hand in hand. It is basically the same thing. Doom Eternal had already came out in the first place, so it wasn't necessary for the soundtrack to be rushed. Yeah, fine, one of the collector items was having the lossless tracks available from the very beginning, but we can all agree that if Mick Gordon told us that the soundtrack was going to be delayed, we would have waited patiently as we waited for the game as well. Let's also put ourselves in the shoes of Gordon. You have been working your ass off in this project, flew to Austin to do a heavy metal choir, and overall deal with the different time zones between its software, Dallas, Texas, and yourself, Australia, and overall having the pressure of creating something better than Doom 2016 soundtrack. You put everything on the table. Work for years and hours on end, just so at the end of the day, you are stripped of putting the cherry on top of the cake, of wrapping the present perfectly as you wanted. The soundtrack being rushed, not only does it damage the end product and puts hours of hard work to waste, but it also hurts Gordon's pride as a composer in my opinion. If something like this was done to me, I would be furious. I think it is safe to assume that the backlash in this situation has gotten out of control. The problem is not that another audio engineer mixed the tracks. That happens all the time in audio production, and I know that that audio engineer does his work phenomenal. The problem is that they rushed this project that shouldn't have been rushed at all. We really do not know why the project was rushed, and we will never know. I have friends at id Software and Bethesda that love Mick's work, so I'm really curious to know about what happened behind the curtain. The reality of it is that Doom fans will burn your house down if you do something they do not like. Mick not composing the music for the next Doom game could really damage its reputation. At the end of the day, I just want Bethesda to give Mick a better treatment, set their differences aside and work together again to create another bombastic soundtrack, because audio design and music composing is just as important as the game itself. So this issue shouldn't be treated lightly. But anyways, that's all I had to say for this topic. I wish Mick Gordon the best, and I really want him to keep creating music for the franchise of Doom. But anyways, thanks for watching. And so case buttons, please let me know what you think about this video topic down in the comments section. Leave a like if you did and a dislike if you disliked it. This is something I am very passionate about and I really wanted to talk about it. Special thanks to all of my patrons who keep supporting the channel every single day, and links to all of my social media accounts will be down below. Thanks for watching and have an awesome day. Adios.